was that? What? What's that sound? Where? It's aliens and they're living in your town. Damn. They have arrived. What? They're all around. So many aliens living in your town. Are you scared?
Hello there, weirdos out there in Weirdo Land. We got the full gang tonight on a lovely Thursday. It's beautiful out. You all look beautiful. We're having a good time. We're laughing before the podcast. It's great moments here, Beckett.
Yeah, showed up early even today.
Wow, that's the story. Beckett was here at 5:30, notoriously always late for shit. But no, Beckett's here. Vicky's here. How are you, Vicky?
Good. How are you?
And I'm doing great. And Sweet Denny's.
I'm doing well as well. We were all early today. It was a rare thing.
And we have our first Weird and Whatever audience. Give it up, audience. One person, a Joe Ponton. He's a friend of the show. We're going to talk to Joe Ponton a little bit. I wanted to bring something up. A question I want to ask everybody in this room and out in the audience. The question is, who out there's found a dead body? Legit found a dead body? Where you've either were walking on the beach or you walked and found your grandma. There's all kind of stories. We're gonna talk to Joe Ponton about that. He's found a couple.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he's not in the mafia, Beckett.
Yeah.
So, Vicky, let's talk about what you were talking about in our Facebook Live video earlier. You're talking about my closet over here.
Yeah, your closet, that top shelf last week during the show. I looked up and you have like a helmet and a figure behind it wearing blue.
Lando Calrissian.
Okay, whatever. And
It is,
so during the show, I looked up and I could have sworn that the figure itself had moved. And I kept looking throughout the show to see if there was a logical explanation for it, and I couldn't find it. So the first thing I did when I came in is kind of inspect it this week, so I'm going to keep an eye on it to see if something happens.
Okay, that's awesome. Did you get any feelings when you're in here walking around? There's been a lot of activity in here.
No, it's pretty dead in here.
Not in here. I'm saying, you didn't go out in the living room.
I didn't go
today.
in. Yeah, I just came in here.
Yeah, this room for me doesn't really ever. I don't feel too much in this room. It's that hallway right outside that room. The bathroom is where a lot of people get reports. There was a Snack Pack member pooping and felt something grabbing his shoulder. Would a ghost do ghosts interrupt you during pooping, sex, stuff like that?
They could.
Okay.
They could.
In your experience, do you ever stories, tales of people going, Vicky, when I poop, this ghost is on my ass?
Not traditionally, no. They usually respect your private space.
Really?
Yeah,
Scared
so
the
you have
shit.
very rude ghosts here.
it scared the shit out of me.
But that's weird to me.
Bum.
You would think that, especially sneaky or evil spirits, they would want to screw you over and mess with you at your most, your most alone time, sex, the bathroom. Why wouldn't they do that? Why don't we hear more about that? Because they're following this code?
Well, generally speaking, the spirits that you come across are going to be like regular human spirits, not necessarily assholes or demons. So those are the ones that are going to do things like that.
Okay. Well, if anyone has, you were pooping and a ghost scared you, tell the story. We would be honored to hear it. The other thing I wanted to talk about. Vicky, did you have a ghost? Do you have a ghost haunt coming up soon, or a ghost investigation coming up?
Well, here.
Oh yeah, let's do it. I
have
can
to
do it.
I just didn't want to interrupt your holiday, so
I
we
get
can set
that.
something.
It's a
right,
new year. We can get all those
Yep.
plans in order.
Yeah, that would be that's top priority.
I would
feel like.
really like to do it though. The first part of the investigation with the whole crew here present. I would like to see Beckett on an investigation.
Ooh, all right. I'm down for it.
I love that. We should have somebody film us investigating.
Right.
I love it. Okay, that means you're in front of the camera, Denny's, on this one.
Oh, I'll be helping with the investigation.
I mean, it's not like being in front of the camera. I did want to talk about this. People are starting to send me in pictures, video, all that kind of stuff. There's a ghost picture or an orb picture, Vicky, I want to show you. I want to show the audience. And I also want to read a little bit of the backstory. Now, this is someone I know in my personal life. Very awesome woman. She, here's the backstory of it. She sent me 2 pictures and she said, we had a futon. My daughter overdosed and was found on the futon. We kept it for 5 years. It was on my screened-in porch, just beyond the screen porch. I threw the futon out back in December. I feel like she's pissed at me. That was her resting place. Now let me show you. I'll show you the pictures first, Vicky, and I think Denny's is showing them too.
Mm-hmm.
There's that picture right there, and if you scroll, there'll be another one. Now I know orbs are tricky because when it comes to pictures and lights and all that kind of stuff, you always got the naysayers. What's your experience with orbs pictures?
That's pretty bright. I wouldn't even call that an orb because it's so bright and it has color to it. It's emitting its own light.
I thought it was a really cool picture.
Yeah, I mean, it even has a reflection.
It looks like on the screen, so I
Yeah.
have it up for everyone.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty awesome. Now, does that typically happen when you do something, you move something, you throw something out, it kind of pisses off the spirit?
It could. As far as that too, I'd have to look to see. I mean, you could have had something reflecting off of something when you took the picture. The flash, there's a lot of different reasons why it could be that bright and that big. So
Okay.
what I'm saying is I'm not going to totally put the ghost stamp on that one because I don't have more than one picture. Because what we typically do on an investigation, if we're taking still photography, we're going to not move and take 3 pictures in a row to see if everything is exactly in the same place for all 3 pictures.
But you're not ruling it out as spirit
I'm not
either.
ruling it out, but I'm also not putting my stamp on it yet.
If she was cool with doing a reading, would you do a reading with her?
Oh,
I would
course.
love to kind of
course.
investigate this a little bit more.
No,
That'd
absolutely.
be great. And people always have. What is your availability for psychic stuff right now?
Basically, I do Monday and Tuesday evenings, and if somebody has a quote unquote emergency, then I will fit them in any of the other days.
And another question: are we going to be on the Osborne show? That Ghost Osborne
We
show?
were supposed to be episode 10. So,
Okay, so I have no. I've had one person say, "Yeah, I saw you on the Osbournes," but that's one person. That doesn't
Yeah.
seem right.
no, I was recording it and fast forwarding through it trying to see the clip, and I haven't seen it yet. But I can reach
Yeah.
out to the guy who reached out to me and just confirm.
Yeah, I would like that. That'd be cool. And I think they supposed to pay us money too, right? When you're on those shows.
Right.
Yeah, look at that, making some money off these
Get
spirits,
some
dog.
royalties.
That's right. You're awfully quiet over there, Denny. We have some technical difficulties over there as I hear it.
Yeah, I don't know what was causing that. I think your laptop might be hitting that cable behind it.
Or is it possible we were talking about ghosts and they were trying to interrupt us, Beckett?
It's more likely.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally possible.
You drinking a beer, Beckett?
Yeah, I am.
Good. Get some more in you.
Are you?
I'm not. I haven't drank in January yet.
Ah.
And no, I'm not doing a dry
You
January.
sandbagging son of a bitch.
I'm gonna drink eventually.
Okay.
I want to take a couple weeks off.
Okay.
Although watching you
Yeah, tonight's the night.
makes me want to join in. We were talking a little bit on the KVJ show about living in the now. I find that to be the easiest, hardest thing as a concept for a human. Oh yeah, it's so easy. Yeah, stay in the moment, man. And people rarely do that.
Yeah.
And someone had a question. They go, "What do you guys do to try to stay in the now when you are?" Because if you're thinking about the past, you're kind of depressed. It breeds depression. If you're constantly in the future, you're living in anxiety. And if you don't really kind of have some self-discipline, you're going to be all over the place. Denny's, I know you talk about kind of centering your mind. What are things that you do to try to stay in the moment?
So I try not to worry about stuff. I find that it's pretty unproductive. I mean, it's hard to. There's certain things that no matter what, your brain's just going to worry about. But, I mean, a lot of the stuff I find a lot of the times things that you worry about don't actually amount to what you've been worrying about. You know, they're a lot less than what you imagine them. I try not to ever dwell on anything. I mean, there's no way around it. You do radio show, you say something that you didn't think went over well or something. So you
Every
kind of
day.
dwell on it the rest of the day. But then I try to move on. Where the next day, just stop thinking about it. Because it really, again, it doesn't do anything productive. And it can actually make you look bad to people if you're constantly bringing up stuff, especially if it's already been buried.
Oh, that's the most
Some
annoying.
people do that.
It's
They
rough.
beat the horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you have to say it 9 times. Yeah, all right, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it, man. Yeah, no, but people, you have to have a process like you're talking about to get through something, but you can't live down there.
For sure.
You gotta move on.
I think that's a lot of just trying to. I mean, of course you can plan. It's not like planning is off the table. I wouldn't. What am I gonna do 2 weeks from now when we have this coming up? What am I gonna do? How are we gonna get prepared for this? I mean, that doesn't do anything. I would start working on a plan to try to figure out how. I mean, no matter what, you're gonna have to do it. If you just waste time not doing anything about it, especially for the first few days, you lose a ton of ground. In fact, I would say the best way, just because I hate projects so much, I've trained myself just because I hate them so much to just do them as fast as possible. And it's early. I just do them early.
If you win the morning, Denny's, you win the day.
So I'll get an audio project. Like we just switched all of our iPads over, which doesn't seem like that big of a deal, right? Here's the weird part. The iPad was so old that they didn't have the technology yet to where you could put it right next to it and just have it transfer. Plus, it's third-party apps with audio files. So I had to transfer those all over. So I had to find a program not only... Well, anyway, it's a whole thing.
Rant, dog.
So
get on the mic and rant. I love Denny's rants.
Kevin gave you that project. And, I mean, it's such a... Oh, my gosh. You want to wait for like a Saturday or something where you have nothing on the table because it's going to take all day. But I just sat down.
That sounds like a fun project.
I did it. I just sat down and did it. And then I did it early on a Saturday, which sucks. But I had the entire rest of the weekend, and I was so worry-free. I regret nothing.
There's this thing me and Denny's do now. Denny's started it. It's something as simple as this really does it can make or break your day if it's a borderline day. You know, we have a lot of these borderline days.
For sure.
And if there'll be times I'll be leaving Denny's house, I'll be leaving work, and I'm tired. It's the end of the day, and I need gas. I need to get gas. I'm almost on empty. I'm like, fuck. Let's get in the morning. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna get a pizza. I just want to chill. Go get the gas now when it sucks right now. You'll be so happy in the morning. I can't tell you how many times in the morning getting gas has fucked everything over.
It really does.
Yeah.
It sets you back. You have to go off your path. And then if one thing gets thrown at you, you now have 2 things to deal with instead of one.
My front door. The smallest thing of a front door when I first got for like 8 months, when you try to walk out the door, it would stick so bad. If there's nothing in your hand, you can get through it. But in the morning, I'm like Carrot Top. I'm walking with so many fucking props. I'm trying to get out of the house, and the door. I got 9 things in my hand. The door won't open, and it started the day off in such a shitty note. That right there, those small little things can really get it going in the right path.
So things either have to go awesome for you to turn that around. But if one little tiny thing happens, like you slip or trip or anything, drop a book, now you're like compounding that frustration to infinitum, and then you start taking things out on people or things that don't deserve it. You know, you start losing a little bit, and that's what I mean by just living in the now. You gotta be conscious of what you're feeling.
It's good stuff, Denny's. I want to do a little role playing with Beckett. I'm going to be that annoying person that likes to talk about their problems, but I want you to try to be as positive with the best advice, okay?
Okay.
Hi, Beckett. How are you?
I'm good, man.
You look so fucking swole, by the way, right now.
Thank you.
I'm really sad because my ex-boyfriend, 2 years ago, he broke up with me, and I'm just so devastated, and I just can't get over it.
Well, I think that there's plenty of fish in the sea. And South Florida has a lot of attractive guys. You're in a great place. So why don't you let me set you up with someone?
But Beckett, he was the one, though, Beckett. We're supposed to get married.
Well, clearly he wasn't the one. And if he didn't value you, then it's better that happened.
But Beckett, he had the raddest dick ever.
Trust me, I have a lot of lacrosse buddies that can treat you well.
End scene. Great job, Beckett.
Playing all the way through.
Didn't break the fourth wall. That was awesome. What do you do, Beckett? If you get depressed or down and out, and you're struggling to stay in the moment, because it really is something you have to constantly work at. And I personally think it's one of the most important things you can do for your psyche on this planet.
Yeah, it's an interesting question because I've actually been contemplating it recently, because sometimes I've had feedback that, you know, whether it's a girlfriend or a buddy or something like that, where they say their problems, and then the way, you know, I work in the sales business, so something happens, I have to come up with solutions. And I'm a guy and whatever, and it's just how I'm wired. I come up with solutions. And sometimes the girl or the friend will be like, Ryan, I just want you to listen to me. And I was like, well, I thought I was trying to help. I was giving you solutions.
Yeah.
They're like, we don't want you to tell me what to do and whatever. And I was like, well, you're only gonna feel less stressed until you start making actions. Like if I waited the last minute to do a paper for school, or if I waited to do something for work, I'm not going to get any less anxiety unless I actually start making steps to move it, no matter how small. I remember even going back as far as college, if I had a disaster of a night where I yard sailed all my possessions and I wasn't sure about some decisions that I made the night before, my place was a mess. What always made me feel better is I would clean my house.
Yeah.
I'd clean my house, and all of a sudden, like that little thing by putting laundry in the laundry, doing my dishes, running the dishwasher, I know it sounds cheesy, just the sound of those two appliances going, I felt cleaner. I felt like my life was better in order.
Sometimes when you're all confused and you don't know what move to make, sometimes all you can do is make just the smallest thing. I clean the kitchen, or I brush my teeth and floss so good. That small little win, and then you start building up the wins.
Exactly. I didn't feel like as much as a degenerate, and then I have a clean room, smells like Febreze or whatever.
It no longer smells like sex.
Yeah, pretty much.
Vicky, what do you do when you? How do you try to stay in the now? Is that something you think about? Where you, I always call it being on autopilot, where you're just kind of thinking about this or thinking about that. You're not getting anything done. What do you do, and do you notice that when that happens to you?
Well, the thing I noticed is that I was to the point where I wasn't enjoying vacations because I was so worried. Okay, what's happening at my house? I'm not home. What's happening? Did he really take the dog out when he was supposed to? When I go back, the floor is going to be dirty. I got to do laundry. And I was really, really conscious of that when I went to Colorado. And I made sure that I just stopped, looked around to see how beautiful it was. And in fact, to be honest, I forgot to call my son like one whole day.
In your face! In your face!
Because I was really enjoying my vacation.
Good for you. I can 110% relate. It happened to me over the holiday break. I could not relax for the first 4 days of vacation. I felt like I needed to be writing something for the
Agreed.
show or coming up with. I could not, for the life of me, relax. And I learned something. Dude, unplug, let it go. Just get the fuck out of your head, or get out of town if you have to. That's a great point and a good learning lesson. If you're gonna go on vacation, go on vacation. If you're gonna eat the sundae, don't eat it with guilt. Go fucking all in and eat the sundae with a smile on your face. If you're going to binge watch, don't do it half-ass.
Yeah.
At least enjoy it.
Yeah.
Don't you ever do that? Watch something, binge watch, but kind of watch it with guilt. Oh, it's the third episode of Cobra Kai. I just watch in a row. I should be doing something else. Fuck that. Watch it.
Or even worse is watching something and working at the same time, and you're watching something you actually want to watch because you're not paying attention to either of them.
That's right.
It really is the worst.
It's the go.
It's better just to do some stuff,
yes.
then watch some stuff, then do some stuff.
If you're gonna do anything, I guess don't do it half-ass.
Yeah, just don't half-ass it.
Well, try to do it to where you at least enjoy it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Except for murder, of course. Guys, don't, eat me with the murder one. I get it.
I think there's something to be said, though, because the modern trend in working, like the time that you work that's considered productive, is pretty low. I think if you realize that humans by nature have a hard time concentrating on boring stuff for a long time, you could redesign the system to work for that.
Keep going on that.
Well, so... let's see.
Expand our minds, Denny.
Well, so when I work on something, if we were doing something creative, I find that if you spend a good hour on it, you start hitting a rut after about an hour of where you kind of just you're either saying the same ideas over again, or you're bringing up this. It starts looping.
For sure.
I find it's good to stand up, go walk or something, or pop on a video, like a music video or something stimulating, something that's different than what you were just doing. And then I find when you go back to things, you kind of have a different perspective from just that little bit of a change.
Yeah, there's things that I never used to think about, and then all of a sudden they became important to me, or symbols of significance. I never used to think about trees,
Yeah.
In my early 30s, I started falling in love and noticing trees and really getting into looking at them and trying to not study them to the point where I'm a tree nerd. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
hear you.
Did they give you wood?
Oh, Beckett. There it is, and there goes the right speaker.
Yes.
Can I piggyback on what Denny's mentioned?
Yes.
Because a lot of entrepreneurs, I work in a co-working space downtown, 1909. They named 1909 because that's when Palm Beach County was invented. So it's actually, or founded. That's when it was actually, what they do is a lot of incubator stuff. And what a lot of the entrepreneurs do is they do sprints. So now on the new update on the iPhone, you can do sleep mode, focus mode, whatever. So like Denny's alluded to the iPad, if he would have done that throughout 6 days and he would have done like an hour here, whatever, he would have had a lot of fatigue because it's the setup and it's the breakdown, it's going whatever. Instead, he set up a sprint on Saturday and just tackled it, right?
Yeah, just did it.
And a lot of research and a lot of entrepreneurs, again, they've been finding a lot of value in that. Just like blocking off some time. Don't get distracted by a text message that
Put it
comes
all
up.
away.
iPhone and Android, as it's been in the press, they design it so you get a serotonin hit when you hit the red dot on your messages. It's designed to distract you, to want you to come back to it.
Yeah, people think I'm such a dick. Well, for many reasons, but especially because I have started to train myself to take my phone and put it away, and I don't have it as much as I used to, and I love it. I love it. I really do.
I think it's a growing trend.
It's really liberating.
Yeah.
To put it away for a little bit. I mean, it has everything. It's great. We all get it. It's awesome. You just got to, it's too awesome. You got to put it away a little bit.
It's like a buffet where it never ends.
It's the best.
It's there always. It's the best taste. It's 5 out of 5 always. It's always so cheesy at this buffet.
It is.
Yeah, I hear you, man. It's a lot of power. Don't get me started on social media and the internet. I think with that said, it might be time for some
Denny's Random Facts.
Denny's gives us a series of factoids, and these are great home run grand slam factoids, baby. Vicky, our educator, she grades his ass. If it's awesome, she gives him an A. If it sucks, she's known to give the F.
The old F.
The old F.
And it hits hard.
It's real hard.
And he's trying to influence me by wearing the awesome sauce shirt.
Oh, yeah.
He wants subliminally, he wants me to see that awesome.
That's what Denny's. You gotta watch Denny's. He's
yes.
big into all that symbolism shit.
Yes.
All right, Denny's.
All right, so I thought this was a pretty crazy fact. 4 times more people speak English as their second language than as a native one. While more people speak English as a second language, nearly 3 times more people speak Mandarin Chinese natively, just to put it in comparison. English has nearly 2 billion people learning it as a second language and only 350 million people speaking it. Wild, right? That just shows you every country learns English.
Do you find when you say something and there's silence, and then you have to go wild right after?
Yeah.
Do you find that alarming?
Furthermore, sometimes I don't know if it's sinking in. There's a lot to process there.
It's when you tell somebody a story or a point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Know what I mean?
And
All right, Vicky, you look very, very disappointed. I can feel her judgment.
yeah, it
Denny's.
looks like
I mean, first of all, it's not that amazing when you consider the population of China, so I'm not overly wowed, although I should be because I am the ESOL coordinator at my school, and second language learners is my job, but I'm sorry. You can only go up from here. I'm going to give you a D.
Damn, Vicky gave you the D. Damn. She gave you the D.
I don't know, but it should be phrased like that. But I see what you're saying. It just sounds so harsh like that.
I apologize.
Oh man. What do you guys think about this? All right, so just again, we can only really conceptualize our lifespan, but Greenland sharks, they don't reach sexual maturity until they're 150 years old.
How old do they live till?
So Greenland sharks, which are also known as gurry sharks or gray sharks, they live very long. They're the longest living vertebrae on the planet and can live up to 400 years old.
What the
So
shit?
they don't sexually mature until they're 150.
Damn, 150's teenage years.
That's
for
like
them.
a teenage. That's when they're going crazy.
Oh my gosh, Beckett! That's a. I mean, that I'm not gonna ask Vicky yet, but Beckett looks blown away.
I mean, it's just such a long lifespan.
Yeah. I can relate because I don't think I've reached my sexual maturity.
I was waiting for
I gotta
it.
tell you, Denny's, you got a little competition with your joke, Jerry.
You're right.
We got Beckett jokes.
You're right. You're right.
Vicky, what do you give that one?
That was a step up. I'm not as impressed as you guys are, so I'm going to give it a C.
Well, we're stoned.
Yeah. I go for that bronze.
We're working our way up.
I love the Denny's.
So you're saying I need to be here at 5 instead of 5:30?
exactly.
I got it.
4:20, the gates open, boys and girls.
So you guys look at chef hats, and you see how it has all those pleats in it? So I guess that represents the 100 folds in a chef's hat represents the 100 ways you can cook an egg. In fact, the 100 is the highest level. They have a bunch of different tiers of hat. But if you look, you can tell how well the chef can cook based on how many pleats he has in his hat. That really is just their rank. And then they added height to it to also show it. But it's the 100 ways to cook an egg is the top caliber of chef hat.
Vicky is fuck. Damn, man.
You don't want no eggs?
Man, podcast has made you cold, Vicky.
For real.
I can't tell. Is it the ghost world or is it the education system that's made you cold?
Hard to say.
You don't have to answer that.
I don't know. That's like a C minus.
Really?
For chefs?
Yeah,
for
you're not wowing me yet. I mean, last week didn't he wasn't it great?
I hear you, Vicky.
It's Denny's random, not good facts. They're just random.
Oh, you're being called out too, Denny's, from someone in the chat room.
Oh, for what?
Denny's, you've done this one before. Did you do the shark one before? And if you have done it before, that's funny on two levels. The fact that you've done it before and the fact that no one's remembered it.
No one.
And, not the audience. I'm talking about the people on the show.
I feel like that one would stick with you guys, though. Sexual maturity.
Yeah, I hear you. I thought it was a great fact. I love that I'm forgetful because I get wowed a few times in life.
That's why I keep you around. What do you guys think about this? So they were going to do a study, a text study. They were giving birds the ability to send each other text messages, and they wanted to see if this study would create any results that they find things and then can communicate to each other. Well, I guess on the first day of the testing, one of the birds flew away to Iran and sent hundreds of text messages at 70 cents a pop, and it bankrupted the entire study, and they had to shut it down because of the bill from the text messaging on roaming.
I just want to remind you, you're on the ropes right now, Denny's.
Nope. So what do you guys think of that study? So the study actually came out inconclusive, and they're looking to re-kick the study, but they had to shut it down to pay the bill.
Were they called tweets?
They were not. He's on fire tonight.
I mean, this is the Beckett Zinger podcast. Vicky, I sort of can feel your disappointment on my left shoulder.
You don't think that's a cool study to see if they could communicate?
Why? Like it's not even the fact that it's not. I'm not judging your fact per se, but why would somebody spend that money to see if a frickin' bird can send a text?
They were gonna spend regular money, but the bird flew to a roaming area and it cost them a fortune.
Well, you could argue, Vicky, why did they try to fly the plane? Why did they try to...
What good are we going to get out of a bird sending a text?
They wanted to see if the birds could communicate with each other. I guess because they picked birds because I guess they hunt in some sort of fashion. So I wondered if they...
Yeah, what if they were able to communicate with birds in a way they never knew they could do?
I have more questions than
Can
answers.
somebody get Vicky a joint, please?
Yeah.
I have more questions than answers.
That bird one looked way better earlier when I was pulling it.
What kind of
dude, they're gonna love this
what kind of
bird.
texts are they sending? Are you up?
So what they were trying to see, what they were trying to see is if a bird would find like a hunting spot and it would text any sort of message to the other birds and that they could communicate with each
I
other.
see.
Through
Look,
I agree, it was a waste of money, but
look, there's still stuff we don't understand about animals. And I feel we think they're dumber than what they are. We think we're the best because we can tweet. We're learning constantly. And maybe these
the
tweeting birds or these computer birds or whatever the fuck Denny's is talking about, maybe it is something that will be...
well, we'll never get the answer because they got bankrupted.
Damn. So it ends it's depressing.
It's sad. I wanted to hear what the results would be on
Ends
that.
with a big bill.
It is a bill.
I don't know if you should have any more beer or if it should get you more. I don't know. Keep it going. Fucking freeform. I love this.
Riff.
Denny's, I'm having too much fun with Vicky bagging on you. Give us another
let's
one.
Let's see. So the speed of a computer mouse is measured in Mickeys. That's the unit they use to measure. So traditionally, a Mickey is 1/200th of an inch. It's the term to explain the specific
Oh,
measurements.
you stammering, Becky?
It's called pixels per Mickey. I feel like I'm losing you guys on the Mickey Mouse.
And it's a knockout. Dude, I love it. I think it's I've given you A's all day. You got to talk to the woman.
Oh, I hear it. I hear it.
Vicky, do you want to give
That
him
was the whole fact.
Vicky with the Mickey.
That was the whole fact.
Denny's, that was a great performance. I had great fun doing that. That was
Measure Mouse and Mickey.
Great conversation.
That was a great conversation. I love that. I do want to talk to Mr. Ponton real quick. Now, Joe Ponton is a friend of the KVJ show, KVJ Nationer. He's been in have you been in every horror movie? Every KVJ horror movie, Ponton?
No, I was not in the first one.
You were not. Okay. All right. You weren't in the first one.
What was the first one called?
Clowns Have Murderous Ways. That's old school. That's the old school fans out there, Denny's.
Oh, we were out of town.
Vicky was.
I wasn't in the first, nor was I in the last. Thanks for bringing that up.
You weren't in Grimsley?
No, I was not.
Oh shit! Damn. Fuck. Oh my God. I'm sorry, Vicky. I didn't think you wanted to. Do you like doing that stuff? Do you like the acting?
I like to be able to say that I was in it.
Well, you are gonna have a big meaty. I completely spaced on that. Damn.
See, now I have a whole year to practice my acting, so I expect a bigger part than the one where I died in the opening credits.
Spoiler alert.
And that was one of them.
I did not even realize that I didn't have you in the. Well, I apologize. Did you do voodoo stuff? Do you ever do voodoo stuff? Voodoo doll?
You're safe. I'm not going to do anything.
Do you believe in voodoo stuff?
I think if the person knows that somebody's doing that mentally, it can kind of do something to you.
Kind of you wish it did come true.
Right.
Now, Joe Ponton,
Yes, sir.
you are, I call you Big Fish. Have you ever seen that movie, Big Fish?
Phenomenal movie.
Explain it really quick to the people.
So the dad's on his deathbed, and the son comes to see him, and they're kind of trying to reconcile. The father has told him outlandish stories his entire life, and as the son is trying to reconcile with his father, he comes to find out that all these stories are actually real.
They're the craziest, holy shit kind of
Yeah.
stories. Ponton is Big Fish, and all of his
I'm
stories
far from
check out. Always. Now, when you were a kid, you found a dead body.
Yeah. I
Okay.
was about 11 years old.
You're 11 years old. You're living in Davie, Florida.
Lived in Southwest Davie, middle of nowhere.
Just a Broward kid, just scampering around,
Yeah.
playing.
No, my brother and I, so we lived in over kind of southwest of Spikes Groves area, actually, whatever, Flamingo
matter.
Gardens. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. There was an old train that had been set on this open field area where there was a place called Pioneer City that was way back in the late 60s, early 70s, and they had trains and they had buffalo and all kinds of other stuff. Well, they just left, and they left a lot of shit out there. So my brother and I would go and we would watch the monkeys play on this train in the middle of nowhere in Davie.
See, already this sounds like some fucking weird.
It sounds like Stand By Me already.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
watching.
Oh, yeah.
I was watching these monkeys on a train. I go, what?
So my brother and I, we ride our bikes over there, and there's a culvert and a little bridge crossing area, and the water was starting to build up, and we looked down, and there was a woman who had been tied to a chair, and she'd been murdered.
Now, when you saw that, did you initially know what it was?
Oh, immediately.
Because
Clear
I've
as
heard
crystal.
people that have found bodies before. It takes them a few seconds, or they think it's a dummy a lot of times, or they think it's a doll. You knew right away.
Knew right away.
And was it there? Do you know if it was there for a while?
It was probably overnight.
Really?
We
So
had a lot of crazy stuff happen out there overnight, and I didn't see all the dead things that happened, but there was always something. There was like 7 houses, and so people would drop shit off, and everyone had their metal roof barns, and drugs would hit the tops of the barns, and that would wake you up at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
That would happen
But
all
yeah,
the time?
Not all the time, but I'd say once a month.
Okay, so you're 11 years old. You find this body. What's the next move? You don't get on a cell phone because
No.
you old
But
like me.
but so this was 1984ish, somewhere around there. There was a guy who, Jimmy Moore, he cut everyone's lawns because everyone had at least an acre of land. And
We all have a Jimmy Moore in our
so
neighborhood,
Jimmy
right?
Moore had one eye. He had a glass eye. He had a big burly beard and mustache, and he was just he was like the Oak Ridge Boy guy. You know what
Yeah.
I'm talking about. So we ran over to him, and he CB radioed the police, and the cops came and they did the story. And actually, it's still an unsolved crime from 1984.
They never found it. Wow. Did they know who it was? Or
Well, I know you and I have had this conversation before, and there was a lot of talk that they thought it might have been Christopher Wilde, but then or Wilder. And
yeah.
then they,
Now, the Christopher Wilder, he was a serial killer here that he went
Right.
through. He started in South Florida and went all the way up to the borderline of New York and Canada. They end up shooting the serial killer. But this was such a big case, and if you grew up in South Florida, you should remember it. He was killing. What he would do is he'd go to these. Do you remember this story, Vicky?
No, I don't.
Christopher Wilder. He would pose as a photographer and go to the malls back in the day, and he'd approach young teenage girls and trick them, and I'm a model agent and I can get you all this stuff, and he'd trick them into getting in the car, and then he'd murder them. And
she was a young blonde.
he had
Sorry.
bodies, I mean, up throughout the states here, and it was a big manhunt. It was a big deal. My Aunt Ann was working the South Florida Fair at the time, volunteering or something like that during one of the killing sprees, and she was running late, and my mom was convinced Wilder had got her. It's like, oh my God, Christopher Wilder got her. Yeah, look, you should look that one up, Vicky. That's a big one. He killed a lot of people. But it was not Christopher Wilder.
It was either that or a mafia hit. And I don't think, like I said, it's never been solved. They still don't have her listed as, I think she's a Jane Doe still in the system.
Wow.
Wow.
It's crazy. And you found someone recently.
August 13th, Friday the 13th of last year.
That's crazy.
Was watching a mother turtle laying her eggs at a nest just before sunrise. And just as the sun started to come up to the east, to the west was a rainbow. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. And I was with like 3 other people, and one of the people said, "Hey, that's a person." And I walked over, and he had committed suicide.
Oh wow.
Hey, have you ever walked in and found a dead body?
I haven't.
Denny's?
I've seen one while driving.
Mr. Ponton, thank you
brother.
very much for sharing your story. We love that, Ponton. 2 dead bodies randomly like
Yeah.
that, and the one victim was tied up. That's horrifying.
Well, I think, especially in the United States, we're so insulated from seeing dead bodies. I think that's why psychologically it takes a while for it to process, because, that's why your brain goes through the progression. Oh, maybe it's a doll or whatever.
Because the last thing
the last thing you think, because you don't have any experience like that, most people.
To me, the most horrifying situation would be to find like a severed something deep in the woods. To me, that's the worst case scenario.
It was my dad driving us to school. It was probably it was either 5th or 6th grade, and we seen a trash bag on the side of the road while we were driving, and there was legs sticking out of it.
Oh, God.
We called the police and reported it, and then we found out later in the day that there was a person that got kidnapped and killed and then stuffed in a bag.
That's crazy, man.
I know, it's pretty horrific to see.
There was this one story I heard that this person, they lived across the street from a park, and they saw this girl sitting on the chair. It was late at night, and she was just on the chair, rocking back and forth. I'm like, that girl's out there late. They saw her again early in the morning, still on the swing, and they thought that was odd. Well, come to find, she was dead on the swing the whole
my
time.
gosh.
They're looking at a dead body, dog.
Wow.
Oh,
Horrible.
gosh.
By the way, living across the street from a park, parks attract
The creepiest.
the weirdest sexually charged people. Not so much like your park the slides, but I'm talking about your city type parks. They can be weird.
So driving to work in the morning, we go very early. You see some crazy stuff. This morning, I almost mentioned it. It was so weird. I seen this guy wandering. You know how where we work is right across from, I guess it's like a motel, right next to I guess like a slightly better motel. I don't know what you would call it, but
It's a shitty motel next to shitty shady motel next to a really shitty and shadier motel.
it continually has crime issues there. It's almost every morning you see some sort of something. This guy was wandering so oddly that I was gonna report it.
Yeah.
So why? What was he doing?
He was just looking around so strangely, fully dressed, like it was the middle of the day. It was so weird. But he wasn't going to any of the rooms. He was walking around, like around by the street in the grass. You know how there's like that bend? You've gone around it for the
Yeah,
show.
definitely.
That weird bend. He was just prowling right there. It was so weird.
That's weird. And sometimes people say, well, oh, Denny's, the guy's just walking. He's not doing anything wrong. There's a thing with your gut.
That's what I felt.
A gut, we don't listen to our guts a lot of times. We ignore it. Your gut said something's off.
So something felt weird. He was
Yeah.
giving out weird vibes. But on top of that, it's not that normal to be walking around like the middle of the. It was like we're talking 4 a.m.
It's interesting because how early you guys have to go to the morning show. You guys are kind of, it's the shift from the night shift to
Oh,
the
yeah.
morning shift of humanity.
We talk
You
about
know?
this quite often, Becky.
So it's really interesting because anyone up at that hour walking around, that's fine at 1 o'clock in the morning, even whatever.
For sure, up until 2.
Yeah, because I've had a couple bender nights and whatever, and then you see people going to work, and you're like,
Oh, my,
it's
what
time
have
to
I
go-
done?
Yeah, exactly. So that's like a no man's land right at that early.
You're
know,
right.
Like, yeah,
Look,
that's a tough hour.
If you are out past 2 o'clock, you are, whether you want to or not, you're fucking shit up.
Yeah.
Whether it's your personal life or just you're out to, you're looking for trouble.
That's the witching hour. You're out.
Chris Rock used to say, he goes, why do they have 24-hour ATMs? No one's trying to get money out for anything good at 4 o'clock in the morning.
You're right.
You know?
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean, if you were a criminal and wanted to, wouldn't you just case out at banks and ATM and
Oh yeah.
just chill there?
I've been at an ATM line and the guy in front of me is so drunk that they're passing out while trying to get money. That person would be so easy to rob.
Yes, and not every parking lot's created equal. There's some places that still, we always talk about cameras and how they're everywhere, and they are, but it surprises me still when you really need footage of something. We got no fucking cameras.
Never.
Really? That's great.
Oh, we didn't have a tape in the thing. I was like,
Yeah, but the one time you need something is when you don't. The cameras don't work.
The chase I went to, they markered over the camera with just a Sharpie. That's like the easiest thing in the planet to do. What's the security against that?
Do you feel scared when you go to the ATM by yourself ever, or do you always go in the daytime?
There's one ATM that I go to. It's like on the corner of Hypo and Military, and it's like it's not at the bank. It's like standing there like behind the checkers. And broad daylight, I always feel like I get out acting all tough and shit, like I'm carrying a gun or something. I'm looking, making sure they know I'm watching, you know.
Yeah.
But I hate going there. But it's like convenient, but I hate it.
Yeah, there's certain places I don't like going on 45th Street. There's a part on 45th Street, and if you don't live in this area, I apologize. It's right by our station. There is a lot of homeless people there, and there's when you're getting off of I-95, there's that light there, so it could be red, and you have all this speed, and then it can turn green, so you continue to just plow on through, and you should because it's a very major road. But there are people that dart right in front of there all the time. It's such a dangerous area. I don't know how they don't have more. Can you look that up?
They probably do have a lot.
Streets and roads of the most accidents.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, 45th Street's got to be up there, man.
It has to be.
I'm talking fatality shit.
I'd imagine there's a couple days we leave work because we leave, it's afternoon. They'll have the street closed because somebody crashed into one of the pillars.
People legit will just dart out at your car. Me and Virginia, we've had people come up to our window while you're at a red light and try to open your door. Me and Virginia's had that.
So I had that one guy, he tried to jump in front of my car so he can get hit, and I slammed on my brakes, and I was like, bro, don't do that.
That's what I think
Pretty
happened.
annoying.
I think that's what happened to me. I think
Kevin
someone
had
tried to
it
do
too,
that.
I think.
They tried to do I forget what it's called. It's the old shuck and dive or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't do it very well. I saw it happening, so I stopped, and then I yelled at him.
Like, dude, you're telegraphing your moods, dude.
Totally, but yeah, I could tell he was trying to get hit by my car. It was so weird.
Yeah. Well, there's so many scams.
Oh gosh,
It's so bad. Technology is tech. If you are a criminal or somebody that wants to do harm or really fuck shit up,
it's easy.
it's a great time. Technology is your friend. If you're a stalker, it's a great time to be alive.
Super easy.
You can get anyone's address at any point.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever been stalked before? Legit stalked where you're uncomfortable?
Not legit stalked.
Denny's?
Not like where I felt fearful of anything.
Not-
but where
not
there's
fearful.
I've hung out with people where I've gotten like the toggle switch going off, thinking that I shouldn't hang out with them, and they do tend to be a little clingy.
But where someone's followed you and they're kind of keeping tabs on your moves and they know where you're at.
The closest call I had was I was in Orlando on Orange Blossom Trail, and I was at a gas station, and a guy goes, "Hey, let me get a ride," and just starts grabbing my door to get in and checking all my doors to get in. My car's locked, and I was like, "No, man, I can't give you a ride. I got to go to work."
That sounds like a murderer, not a stalker.
Well, yeah, I was like, this is a bad situation.
That's horrifying.
Yeah, I thought that was a complete invasion.
Gas stations by the highway, always shady shit goes down because they can dine and dash, baby. They can,
Absolutely.
They can do their shit and get the fuck out of there.
And there's a whole underbelly in the trucking industry with truck stops and all the
Oh,
stuff that
yeah,
goes
we've
on
talked
there.
about
Oh, so many of my murder specials. And he was a truck driver.
Yeah. Totally.
There's a lot of similarities to some of these murder specials. I notice most of them, they kill animals. They do start the big ones that you know of.
Yeah,
they
for
all have
sure.
a history and showing that they were harming animals at an early age.
Yep. I had a let's see, 3rd or 4th grade last year. They used to come to me for interventions, and like 3 or 4 boys would walk together, and they reported to me that this child on the way back had killed a lizard. I'm watching him.
Yeah.
A few years
it's
from now,
terrible.
I'm watching him.
I saved a lizard once. I did like a little lizard CPR. I'm convinced I saved it, but I mean, it could have just flipped over.
Doesn't mean anything, Danny. Ted Bundy once saved someone from drowning.
You're right.
Isn't that crazy? That you
Well,
could-
it's just weird the people you pick to save and the people you pick to kill. Like he could easily just kick that person back in the water or whatever.
But here's the I've thought about that before. What made Bundy save that person and what made him kill that person? He saved that Bundy was such an egotistical person.
Mm-hmm.
He was saving that person for the limelight because he didn't get any sexual desire out of that. He knew if he saved that person, good old Ted is a great guy. You're a hero.
turn his image around.
Look at everybody. Look at Ted. He killed people because that was his the worst desire he could not control. He didn't want to control it. There's the difference.
Yeah, he liked it.
He loved it.
indulged.
Yeah, it's crazy. Vicky, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I've read 2 books on Bundy. One was the Anne Rule, because she actually knew him.
Yeah.
So it's from her personal perspective, and also the one of the girlfriend that he had during the time of his killing.
That poor woman.
Right, and there's stuff that was left out of the original edition that a lot of people don't know about because she had a young daughter. And there were some inappropriate things that happened when he was babysitting the girl, but that was not widely known. And it only came out when the girl got old enough to like give permission for her story to be told too. So they added it to the book later on, the newer editions.
Wow. Imagine being Ted Bundy's kid.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
Are you built with guilt like in already?
well, I think you shouldn't be, first of all.
You have nothing to do with it.
But as human beings, I can see
I
how
can see
that's
you
going
would
to be a
take
burden.
some of the responsibility.
Oh yeah. Well, imagine being the BTK child. His daughter found out that that her father was this serial killer, rapist, sadistic, horrible.
the worst.
When she was 22, 23. You're an adult at that point, man. You are. I mean, you find out your dad at your age right now. He's done all of this crazy shit. What does that do for the rest of Ryan Beckett's life? Does it change you dramatically?
I don't think it changes me. Man, the bottom would fall out, in terms of like my perspective and my grounding on how I think about my life and my upbringing. But I think the good news about me being 39 is I've had no murderous, violent urges. Because my big thing would be worried about what is inside me. You know, I'd change my name right away. You know,
dye my hair, change my eye color.
I'd go damage control right away. I'd probably have a lot of therapy set up. But I think at this age, I'm very confident who I am and who I'm not. I think if you're a kid, then you worry about that and like what kind of fingerprint does that put in like what is going through my veins in terms of DNA and my personality.
You're an 8-year-old kid and everyone says, hey, your dad's a murderer. You're going to be you're going to grow up with all kinds of fucked up.
Yeah.
Finding out now, though, I mean, geez, you think back to every moment in your life where your dad's like, hey, I got to run out for a second.
Yes.
And you're like, he's getting eggs.
Holy shit. Randy was not playing any fucking tennis. He was murdering people.
He was hacking with that arm.
I always call that the usual suspects moment where it all kind of you flash back and all the pieces come into place. You go, holy shit.
Yes.
Kevin was the murderer and he has dead bodies. That's where Mariana went. That's a KVJ joke.
Yeah, you can always see it when people get caught and then their spouses or whatever find out about it. You can just hear it. You can hear it in their voice that they're realizing all of the things that they've been thinking. Any weird thing that they thought about. I was like, now is like confirmed.
We watched that Predator video the other day. This kid, so these guys, I've talked about this before. They're called Dads Against Predators, and they run sting operations, kind of pretty much exactly like To Catch a Predator. They'll pose as 12-year-old kids, 13-year-old kids, and they'll be on an app and they get these dudes to come and they always say the same thing. Oh, I'm here to mentor, and
it's always the worst.
I'm there to tell them not to do this stuff. We saw one the other day, and one of the guys that runs the channel, he was molested by this guy, and
that's how he got into it.
Yeah, he's been busting all these people, but he starts the video off saying, y'all, this is the guy that molested me. I've been busting all these people. I've been feeling like a little bitch. I want to confront him how I've been confronting all these other people. So when he confronts this guy, he's got, what they do is they put it on Facebook Live and they confront it, and he's with the guy that molested him is with his wife.
And he's a family friend.
Yeah, he's he's close to the family.
They got history and everything.
Yeah, and he molested him when he was 11, 12 years old, and the wife just, I don't know. It didn't look like she didn't know. She looked surprised.
Yeah, she did.
And imagine being a wife finding out that your husband was molesting children, and then there's a camera in your face, and you're being confronted. So much shit's going through your head.
Totally. And you can see her processing it at first, and then she starts, I think she starts realizing.
You can almost see her going through her
the
head.
moments.
Yeah, kind of putting. Yeah, you're right. You can see her thinking almost.
Piecing it together.
Yes.
And then at the end, she's just like, let's go.
Yeah.
It's so haunting to watch.
Wow.
It is crazy when not the joke is on you, but when you're kind of like the last to know, and you're putting that oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's a weird feeling.
It's a bad analogy, but I heard Joe Rogan explaining the big thing with kids is you never want your kid to be the first one that says there's no Santa Claus, because that kid. What? Oh, you're not.
We were just talking about it.
Yeah,
it's sensitive.
Well, that's the one thing we're never ever allowed to broadcast.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Beckett. Well,
I didn't know that was off.
No kids should be listening. But if you are, Beckett's a jokester. Santa is alive and well. Yeah. He's just resting.
Yeah, no, I saw him. But the point is that.
So I get what point you're making.
What I was saying is that you never want to be the first one or the last one, in those kind of scenarios.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's hilarious. Vicky, you want to clean that up for me?
Well, what I was going to say, I think it's great that we've come so far in profiling killers and things like that. So many people would have been saved had police officers realized that your normal average Joe probably is the killer.
Yeah, no
offense.
That's no offense to upon time. Yeah. No, that's a great point. And another thing to think about, back in the day, and I'm going as far back as the 80s, where DNA and all that shit wasn't prevalent, and the computers weren't up and running. You could literally get away with murder. It was so easy.
Much easier. Robbing banks too.
To get away with anything.
Everything. Back in the day, if the police were chasing you, you cross that state line, that would lose their jurisdiction. They would have to stop.
I mean,
how ridiculous is that?
If you like a Joe Ponton story back in the day, out in the middle of fucking Davie, where no one's at,
multiple victims.
if you have half a brain with a quarter of a strategy, there you can get away with murder.
Right.
But what I love now, Vicky, is the fact that these people who did kill in the 70s, DNA is now available.
Catching. I
Forensic-
hope they sweat every day.
I hope they do too. And it seems like every single month they're nabbing these guys.
Totally.
3 a month now. It's becoming that prevalent.
Yeah, the dating game guy, they got him for several murders
Yes.
once they had some DNA evidence.
I saw that you're seeing other, like 1 or 2 new victims thrown at some of these more big time murderers because they just didn't have the DNA stuff. That I do. Someone's listening right now, or someone listens to the KVJ show that has murdered somebody and has gotten away with it. That's the numbers are there.
It has to.
The numbers are there. I want them to sweat every time we bring this up, especially if it was one of those real evil type. Just if someone tried to kill you and then you punch them and you got to get rid of the body. You know the kind of murder I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
The one where they thought they got away with murder. I hope you're sweating your dick off. Because there is so many cold cases. I'm glad we're talking about this. I brought up, a passion of mine is bringing up these cold cases, especially the ones that are local. And there was one back in the day that it was a big time case. If you grew up in Palm Beach County, you knew about it. Do you remember the Christy Luna case? Vicky, no. It was a big case. Christy Luna, she was walking home. She was walking from her house to a convenience store to get something, and in the matter of moments, she was taken, and they never found her. And I've always felt such a heavy heart for her mother because she's local and she's been on the news at every, anniversary. You always see this story, and they don't, it's still out there. And I would love to. We got to bring these up just in case somebody does know something. There are stories where someone does years later go, fuck it, I'm going to go ahead and say and give some information out. That case is always a big case for me. The Rachel Hurley case is an unsolved murder that happened in Jupiter. These are cases I always bring up. Maurice Jefferson out there in Fort Lauderdale. These are cases that are still cold. These are from the 80s and the 90s, and there's still no answers. And I don't like hearing stories when I hear about relatives passing away, not getting the answer. That's not fair.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not fair. So, we put these stories out there. If you're not familiar with these stories, Google them. There's all this information. The comment that I got, it was from Dina Halub in our chat room. Jay, but I went to elementary with a girl named Christy Luna. That was, she was abducted from a corner store in Green Acres in 1984. In 2019, they reopened the case, but still haven't found her. Yeah, they haven't even found her. So they don't even, that's what sucks. It sounds like there are new leads, but nothing that has led them to her yet. Her mom, Jenny, that's her name, still has a billboard in Green Acres with the before and after. They do that age, that thing. So if you any information, obviously let the authorities know or let us know. But it just sucks, man.
The injustice.
The injustice. Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes authorities just need that one last puzzle piece to have a clearer picture.
And sometimes they have a suspect. They all know it. We know it's the son of a bitch, but they don't have that
piece.
slam dunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be so frustrating as an officer.
I think it drives some people mad.
It has
knowing that you could get them and that they did it, but you just don't have the evidence, or you're missing just that one little tiny thing.
That's got to be. If you have a heart and you care about your profession and you want to get that murderer, there were even there was reports about the police officer that let is it Gabby Petito? Was that her name?
Yeah.
He let them go. And, she ended up getting murdered.
Yeah.
He's having a tough time with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Geez,
Yeah.
he probably thinks about that constantly.
Absolutely.
Well, there also, what was kind of a shame about that is it seems like there was a disconnect from dispatch to the sheriff handoff, because when they were questioning on the side of the road, the call was that someone saw him hitting her. So when they were doing that roadside stop, they weren't asking like, oh, well, we had a report that he was hitting you. So they seemed to have confusion. So that was one of those frustrating things. There was a breakdown in communication as it got handed off from the caller to 911 to the dispatch to the officers. So hopefully that officer doesn't take it too hard, because he apparently, based on what I've listened to and read, he didn't get that full message.
Sure.
And that's why communication's so important.
It's the main. You always hear on all these murder specials, they bungle so much. Some of these murders could have been stopped way earlier, but we've got these bloody towels. Where do you want these? Oh, the back by the lake, and the lake floods the towel. There's so many stories where water or weather or some weird thing has destroyed such important evidence. Anybody that would be, you go, guys, this is the bloody towels. This is where probably we should keep this. They lose it.
It's crazy.
And back in the day, what they would do is police officers were told, don't take too many pictures because this film and this camera is way expensive. So at a crime scene, they'd only have 20 pictures sometimes because they were afraid to not.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't take all these detailed pictures.
Right. Wow.
I mean, that's the stuff that you're happy about, how our technology has evolved into what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's sad. I mean, that's just such a tragic thing to occur.
Yeah, you get one more, Beckett, to make this one count. All right, I got 19 pictures. All right, you know what I mean?
And before pictures, you're just going on people's word. They would just ask everybody on the square what they saw, and then they would try to put it together.
Am I the only one that thinks anytime someone describes somebody to the police, the people that draw it, they never look anything close to what they look like in real life? They always look like a cartoon character. They never get it right.
Probably because your brain's trying to remember the details, so it's focusing on one, so you picture them larger or more exaggerated.
The Ted Bundy ones? He looks like a fucking crow. He looks like an animal, like a half animal man.
Maybe that's how they saw him and they attack. I don't know.
Look up the mugshot of Ted Bundy. I'm a terrible drawer. I could compete. And they are those little composites. They're fucking horrifying.
Yeah.
They are so scary looking.
They are.
Well, I think what they should do is sketch artists should do a range of what someone looks like have progression picks. Like when I go to price a house, I don't say the house is worth 1.325 million. I go, oh, it's probably between 1.3 and 1.4. That's what the market's going to bring. So you go in and be like, okay, the guy is going to look somewhere around this. So because when it's so exact, maybe they have someone that's similar, but they're like, they rule it out because like that's not him. So it almost can do more harm than good because they're like, oh, it doesn't look like that sketch. So like convey to the public that there's a little margin of error here,
Oh yeah. Sometimes they say when you bring details out to the public, they can fuck it up a little bit too. Imagine that. Everyone wants to get involved and.
Well, the problem is it's like I'll use another real estate analogy.
Do it.
So when we
we're sold on it. Becky.
Yeah, man.
There you go. So when you advertise in the Palm Beach Post, we get tons of phone calls. So it makes me really, really busy with all incoming, and it's a lot of BS. It's a lot of crap. A lot of people that aren't buyers, they're interested. They want to come see it on a Sunday for fun because they're bored. so there's good and the bad. So when they put it out with public, you get way more leads as the police, but it also bogs them down because not only are they getting more leads, now they have to look and decide, well, okay, this lead's a good lead, this is a hot lead, this is a bad lead, and then they have to decide to like pursue and put resources on it, and that could put them behind the 8 ball.
Oh, every minute counts. Oh, if someone's missing, I mean, every second counts, as everybody knows that. I mean, I'm mansplaining police stuff, Denny's.
That's why I go back to the chip. I think kids should be chipped. That's just my humble opinion.
I ain't down with that, dog.
Until 18.
I don't want no weird shit in my body. But I hear what you're saying. I love kids. Don't email me. I know. Let's end this podcast on a fun, light note. A little would you rather.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, let's have some fun. Would you rather eat nothing but human toes for the rest of your life or drink nothing but human spit? And
I would eat human toes all day.
And both of them are at the rankest, grossest, and you cannot get any diseases. So you can totally eat it and drink it.
You can totally eat
You
it.
can totally eat it.
I'd eat toes all day.
Yeah, it comes with a little jam.
Spit is so gnarly.
Spit's pretty rough, but some people really are turned off by toes, Denny's. But keep in mind, these have gross, yellowy, jaundiced toenails
I'd eat them in a bowl of something.
with little dry blood on there too.
That's fine. Dude, spit is so disgusting.
Okay, Denny's going all in on spit.
Dude, if you were sitting there and you're looking at something and somebody pours cold spit on you, you're gonna be it's gonna ruin everything.
If I have relatives that have very wet lips and they'll kiss my cheek, and
Ugh.
I swear I can feel that heat on my face for at least an hour and a half.
Oh god.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think I'm going spit.
Oh.
No, yeah, what are you going, Beckett?
I've never been a fan of spitters, so I'm going with toes.
Let it hang there.
Yeah.
Let it hang.
Yeah, I hear
What are you
ya.
guys thinking, pervert?
Vicky, spit or toes?
I'm gonna be the oddball. I'm gonna go with spit.
Oh.
I'm with Vicky. I'm going with spit.
But you can't-
I can get spit down easier than I can a toe.
But there's no substance there.
Dog, you're in the world of.
What if the person spit and drinks milk and then spits and you have to drink that? Ugh,
So be it.
I'm out.
That is your path. Okay. Would you rather be a gremlin or a Muppet? And this is going to tell a lot about a person's personality. Keep in mind, if you're a gremlin, you're also a mogwai. You can be all
Yeah,
cute
for sure.
like a for this question. You can be like a
Could
gizmo.
you stay Mogwai? Just never eat after midnight?
Well,
You can't get water on you either, right?
you become a gremlin once a week, regardless.
All right.
That's gonna happen. Sorry, Denny's. You're gonna get the munchies. You're gonna get all stoned as a mog.
I hear ya.
A mogwai's gonna get mog high.
Yeah, oh,
and he's
yeah.
gonna want to eat. He's gonna get turned to a gremlin and fuck some shit up.
I will become a gremlin. All right, I'll pick the other one.
Muppets?
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Definitely Muppet.
Explain why.
So do I have a lower half? Or is there a guy under me? Like, what is it?
With his hand up your ass.
Yeah, like, am I actually a Muppet or what?
You're like a centaur. It's a half.
It's it's a guy under me, but I'm actually sentient on the top.
Yeah, you're a Muppet, but there is a hand up your ass. He's got his whole set of problems, his own story.
All right, he's got his whole thing.
Yeah, he's got a whole thing going on.
All right, I still pick Muppet. I think being a Muppet would be awesome. I'd want to be one of the. I don't even know what Muppet I would be.
A Muppet would be awesome, except for if there's a hand up your ass and a guy with a storyline and his whole set of problems.
I hear
yeah,
ya.
that'd be good.
I'll
Becky,
do electric teeth.
What do you got?
Definitely Muppet. And they're fun, loving. They have a high shelf life. Kids can watch me. Entertain kids.
All right, move along. Vicky.
Gremlin.
I knew Vicky.
Gremlin.
I knew it. I'm kind of with Vicky. I love me some Muppets. I just know if I get in that Muppet world, I'm gonna fuck it all up. Let me stay with the Gremlins. They're my kind.
You love Rainbow Connection so much. You could be chilling with Kermit.
I love it too much.
I
That's
hear you,
that's
I
my
hear
point.
you.
Let me go to the. I can fuck up once a week. Let me do that.
And the Gremlins have fun when they're Gremlins.
They are. That's what I mean.
They party.
They know it's wrong, but they give in. Dennis.
Yes.
It's actually probably more similar to how I live my life.
Mogwai Gremlin ratio.
I feel like a gremlin / mogwai. Would you rather? Another eating question. Eat 2-week-old. 2-week-old. So you're eating a 2-week-old.
All right.
That was a little confusing. A 2-week-old gas station hot dog for the rest of your life. So everything you're eating is a 2-week-old gas station.
Like they took it out and they're like, we have to get rid of it now. Let's give it to this guy.
You're like, I don't know, dog. It's really gray. I'm definitely gonna get food poisoning and ptomaine. There's a chance. It's 2 weeks old, man.
I understand.
It looks like sick ET when sick.
That was the grade that did it. I hate that. It looks so gross.
Because there are hot dogs at some of these stores that look like sick ET.
The Polish sausages, if they're left out too long, turn gray.
They look like gross cookies and cream mixed with meatloaf.
They do. They look like cookies and cream and sausage casing.
Totally fuck. It's such a young man's game. I used to eat all that shit. 19 years old. Oh, let me get a 7-Eleven hot dog and fucking. That would kill me.
Oh, if I ate that right now, I wouldn't be able to sleep tonight. I'd be up all night.
That would kill me. I would eat 4 of those things.
I used to go to Costco and get the mustard on them and everything. I couldn't do it
yeah.
now.
I mean, I still eat that shit, but not like that, man.
No.
You can't. I'll fucking die.
I can't.
What were we talking about?
So what's the second option?
Oh, second option. Okay, so you got. I wanted to sell how terrible the 2-week.
Okay.
All right. Or eat food from a restaurant dumpster, and the dumpster, she's real wet.
Oh, there's that yellow liquid that's like a mystery creamy liquid that
Oh,
sometimes
God,
coats the
man.
outside
Yeah.
of dumpsters.
Don't ever
I
say
leaned on a dumpster once.
You're never allowed to say creamy liquid again and look at me.
I went like that and was chatting. I was like, oh my God, what is this?
Yeah, I mean, I used to work at the Limited at the Gardens Mall, the Limited and the Limited too. And I know I sound like I'm bragging, and maybe I am. And I'd have to take out the trash and go out to the dumpsters, and the dumpsters were just any dumpster I've ever been to. The ones at work we work at, they're
Are rough.
horrific.
Really bad.
Yeah, so.
Gas station, hot dog.
But keep in mind, at the dumpster, your Olive Garden, they threw that shit out 9p tonight.
Like earlier, yeah.
You never know what you're going to get back in.
Yeah, that's why I'm going with dumpster. I like variety, and I like the possibility of, as we talked on the podcast, having hope. There's always hope in the dumpster situation.
Not to fuck up your hope, but I forgot to mention that every dumpster always has maggots in everything and slugs.
Then that would push me to a hot dog. I hate maggots.
Oh, maggots are rough.
I'm kidding. I'm taking back that addendum. Vicky,
Do we have to actually dive in the dumpster, or is the dumpster really full and we can just reach in and get it?
it's a good question.
Could you use a fishing pole to find something?
You know what? Every day the dumpster situation is going to be different. Some days it'll be real easy. You're going to find some cool cakes.
Yeah, like, oh, what is
Oh,
that?
damn, they're warm. They just threw them in there.
that flan?
And then there's going to be times where you get some shrimp with maggots, dog.
Oh God, I would never, ever, ever recommend eating shrimp from a dumpster. I mean, I hope no one ever does that.
It's a good name
Just
for-
that example is so
Yeah.
rough
That's
for
such
me.
a great name for a band. Who's playing tonight? Oh, Shrimp from a Dumpster. Awesome. They fucking rage, bro.
Oh, that's how you die.
Oh, yeah. Anything aquatic,
Oh,
you're going to die.
anything from the ocean and then in a dumpster for even 20 minutes is gonna kill you.
So are we all going dumpster? Or?
Dumpster.
No,
I'm going dumpster.
I'm going hot dog.
Damn, you do love gas station food.
I do.
My man loves gas
I
station
do.
food. He
It's
does.
hard to get rid of these roots.
We'll be getting something to eat, and he doesn't do it anymore because I rip on him so hard.
I had to change.
Because I'm all about going out to eat. Like, hey, let's get something to eat, Dennis. Yeah, okay. He have a chicken salad sandwich from a gas station. I go, what are you doing?
That's a young man's gut, man.
He's like, oh, it's so good. I'm like, oh, chicken salad with mayonnaise from a gas station. Fuck that noise.
I agree.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, dude, you get it when it's like. So you gotta look at the dates on those ones if you're gonna roll the dice like that.
I try never to read anything on a label.
I hear you. I hear you.
Would you two more? Want to wrap this thing up? Would you rather be killed by a dragon or killed by a Medusa? Vicky,
Oh, dragon.
You'd
I
rather
hate
be killed-
snakes.
okay. You'd
Yeah.
rather be killed by a Medusa.
No, I'd rather be killed by the dragon.
Oh, I apologize. I'm
She
dumb.
hates the snakes.
I
on
hate the
Medusa.
snakes on her head.
Oh gosh, Medusa's so cool. I'm a Medusa
love
fan.
Medusa.
I'm a Medusa fan.
That's cool.
I want to be killed by Medusa, but I love fucking dragons too, man.
Well, a dragon's either gonna burn you or eat you, or burn you and then eat you.
What would be a worst? Yeah, what's gonna be the most painful, horrific death? Medusa or?
Oh God, you get petrified.
I
Turn to
know.
Stone.
And I feel like she's gonna take her time for a minute. She's gonna
She's gonna like whack your dick with something.
Yeah.
Like embarrass you in front
she's
of.
gonna
everyone.
whack your dick. She's gonna gonna humiliate you.
I'm gonna go with the first one then.
What is that?
Dragon.
Yeah,
Because I feel like it's quick.
Yeah.
yeah. Unless that dragon wants to kind of toy with you a little bit, kind of fucking pat you
So
around.
if you watch
bat
cats,
you around.
watch cats eat lizards. It's horrific.
That's what the dragon does to you. Kind of smacks you around. You're still like, oh, please, dragon, shut up.
That just shows you how cruel nature is, because cats give no f's about anything they kill.
We think they don't, but how do we know they don't have the cat guilt?
Because the horrific things they do. I watched Rufus decapitate that bird, and then it shot blood all over my face.
Oh my god.
I
I had my mouth open.
I apologize for anyone.
It was
who's-
horrific.
I apologize for anyone who's heard this story, but it was so bizarre because I walked. This is when we lived right next to each
right
other
across from each other.
in West Palm. I walked. It was the most beautiful morning. The sun was. It was so odd how it was all set up. There was a god-like angelic sunbeam right on Denny's patio area, and this beautiful bird.
Birds, multiple birds.
Yeah, lands on the fence, and I go, "Oh my gosh, what a beautiful!" I'm trying to find my camera because it's so beautiful. Next thing you know, as this one bird lands, I see Rufus the talking cat jump out of nowhere, like Michael Jordan. You know those fences I had at Sandalwood.
Yeah, they're like 9 feet tall.
He leaps and eats and decapitates this bird mid-air as I'm looking at this godlike sunbeam rattled me to the core.
Wow.
I walk over to Denny's, Denny goes, "Oh my gosh, I can believe it. Rufus just decapitated a fucking bird."
So I hear the commotion. I run out there, and Rufus grabs this bird by its neck. So I start shaking Rufus to try to get him to let go, and the bird's head comes off and just starts squirting me.
Oh my
It was
God.
so horrific to watch.
Pretty rough, man.
And then about, I don't know, 3 months later, I'm bringing some groceries out of my car. And as it's like 12p in the afternoon, nobody around. I'm hearing all this noise in the top of my neighbor's unit. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I look up. I witness a duck murder. There is a duck-on-duck crime. This one duck pushes this other duck off the roof. The other duck falls. I see the duck hit its neck on the railing.
It's like $1 Million Baby.
Oh my! It was $1 million baby situation. I hear the duck wah, on the ground. I go, oh my gosh! Fucking rattled.
And ducks are cruel to each other.
They are. You ever see a duck? I'm not gonna call it make love.
Oh, they definitely don't do that.
Have you ever seen that, Vicky? Ducks mate?
And I hope never to. I'm good.
Oh,
I'm
it's
good.
horrific.
I'm already scarred from your story. I don't want to see anything else.
It fucked me up, Vicky. I'm sorry. I have to get that out, Becky.
Oh, yeah.
It helps with the healing process.
There you go.
All right, last question, kids. Would you rather have sex in quicksand or have sex in hot tar?
Oh, God. Quicksand.
That's funny. That's what Denny sounds like when he's having sex. Oh, God.
Oh, God. Heaven's the Megatroid.
That's how Denny talks dirty.
That's how I talk dirty.
That's amazing.
I wish that was true.
Oh, my gosh.
I would love to talk dirty like that. That would be amazing.
I don't know if it would arouse anyone.
I think it'd be great fun. Beckett, you're a man of carnal desires.
I think I would go quicksand because it would manage her expectations.
Oh, Beckett. What did on a zinger? And Vicky.
Quicksand.
Yeah, it'd have to be quick.
Yeah.
The tar you be. I don't think you could even enjoy it.
No.
I think you would melt.
Well, y'all, thank you for spending a lovely Thursday with us. We enjoyed our time together. If you got any kind of video or ghost stuff, footage, pictures, send it to us at
mail@kvjshow.com.
we love you all, and
Bigfoot is real.
What was that? What? What's that sound? It's aliens and they're living in your town. They have arrived. What? They're all around. So many aliens living in your town. Are you scared of aliens? Well, you should be, 'cause aliens want